Hmm. Um, I think I first magic trick I ever saw was in Sunday school, and it was a really the crappy version of Professor's Nightmare, and it was about three different kinds of sins, and like big sins like killing people, and smaller sins like stealing, and then small sins like lying, and how in God's eyes they're all the same. And I remember being a kid and thinking that was complete crap, but the magic school, and then. I got to examine the ropes too. I was like blown away by the trick, but at 8 years old, I thought that was a really lousy message. But then I went to a magic shop that was only open from the time I was 8 until ages of 13, so a little window of time.
Hmm.
And it's called the Magic Shop in Panama City, Florida, on Highway 231, like a little shack. And the guy just sat back there smoking the whole time. No, had no foot traffic, no business. But I saw some of the first good magic I ever saw in my life there, and I learned some things. I bought books. I got the Amateur Magician's Handbook. That was my first book, and I got a hot rod, and I got like little tricks like that. But then a guy named Rhett Bryson was visiting one day, and I happened to be in there with my best friend, and Rhett did like one killer like closer after another. What he did close with was Michael Close's "It's Done with Mirrors," the pothole trick.
Hmm. Yeah.
We just, I mean, that thing where Juan Tamariz talks about good magic feels hallucinatory.
Yeah.
We thought we were losing our minds. We thought we were hallucinating. And we were just holding that business card and examining it and freaking out. And that feeling was so powerful. I'd never felt anything like that. And I think that was around the time I went, oh my God, I want to start really reading about this and taking this seriously. And if I can do that, my God, I would love to do that. Doing it for a living, I never thought it was possible to do for a living. I didn't know anybody who made a full living doing magic until I moved to New York. It was, it didn't even occur to me you could make a full living doing it.
Yeah. Did you feel like magic was cultivated differently for you growing up? Where were you the kid showing the tricks to people, or was someone at the magic shop teaching you, or how was it kind of fostered in your world?
I think the magic shop was the main place, and I could rarely go there, but I was the only guy I knew doing magic. I had a brief moment with a guy named Bobby Odom. He was a friend of my stepdad's and big guy. He's passed on recently, but really, really, just he had he was like a semi-professional. He did it when he wasn't working the docks in Florida.
Right.
He was like a SpongeBob, red silk hanky, red cummerbund, red bow tie kind of
Hmm.
magician, playing card vest magician. But he showed me a lot of the like more advanced stuff that I had never even heard of, or he turned me on to he gave me make copies of VHSs for me, and he told me what books to get and things like that. So I owe him a lot. But I didn't really, honestly, I didn't really, uh, until I met Jamie Ian Swiss in New York, who really like aggressively said, no, read this, read that, practice this, stop doing it that way, go back to the rudiments and learn a double lift the right way, learn a card control the right way. And Jamie taught me my first, topping the deck, Vernon topping the deck, top palm, and
Oh yeah.
these things you need that I didn't
Right.
have exactly. So it wasn't until my early 20s where I had somebody really kind of break me apart and build me back up and teach me the real work. I'm so jealous of these guys like Derek Delgado, who was at 12 hanging out with Eric Mead and Michael Whipper. It's
Going to
like,
magic camp.
I've taught at Tannen's camp, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. I
Yeah.
wish I could have been around this crap as a kid. Man, that would have blown so jealous of that.
You talked about Jamie and Swiss. Do you feel like he was a really big influence on your magic early on, or did you have other influences that once you kind of hit New York in your early 20s, it really started to get some
Uh,
traction, and then you're being introduced to other magicians? Or
I mean, I was obsessed with Penn and Teller as a teenager. They were the first guys on TV that I connected with. Like, I liked Copperfield fine. I honestly, even as a little kid, found it kind of a little corny.
yeah.
Um, but Penn and Teller's sense of intelligence and humor, and that they respected your intelligence, and I loved horror movies, so I was really into like them being bloody and back when they
Oh
were
yeah.
really bloody all the time. Harry Anderson, those guys that like had a
Yeah.
character and an attitude that
An edge.
um, an edge. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love those guys, and in Penn and Teller's books, they had referenced Jamie. And so I started reading his articles in Jamie, and I'm like, my God, this really guy's really smart and writes about magic really well. So when I got to New York and broke as hell, but I saved enough money to like take a private lesson with Jamie. And in that first session, you know, he said he wanted to see a lot of magic. He wanted to see what books I had. He wanted to know what do I have in me. And I fooled him really badly with one trick, which he loves to tell a story about, and like how I got him bad, you know. Um, and and he then kind of just said, all right, we need to work on these things. We also just started talking about film, and then we kind of just formed this friendship that became very, very close friends. Yeah, he was a big it was a big deal. He was one of those guys, I think, from my love of Penn and Teller and seeing him on like the Art of Magic special and reading his
Mm-hmm.
works. He was already a guy in my head, so like to get to meet him and know him,
Right.
that's been it's been a 20 almost 25-year friendship, you know, at this
Yeah.
point.
That's incredible.
Yeah, very lucky.
Do you feel like your experience in New York was different than most magicians who were already there? What was it like cutting your teeth in New York City when you?
Oh, well, man, the guys I know here who had lectures coming through at Tannen and SAM, and these guys who had magic clubs, who again, they were learning the things I was learning at 21. They were learning
Right.
those things at 15. Um, and it was not weird for them to like be around their heroes. It was very weird for me to like to, oh my God, look who's coming through, and that was new to me.
Yeah.
And also like Prakash, even in Singapore, my business partner Prakash Peru, he had Max Maven coming through Singapore, and he had all these
Mm-hmm.
top guys lecturing there, and he knew working pro. So it's at 16, Prakash was a working pro. He had to do he had to be in the Singapore Army, but like he was like gigging.
Yeah.
I didn't cut my teeth until I started doing like these horrific bar mitzvahs and wild New York parties where you got to be on your game, and
Yeah.
it'll show you what you don't know very quickly. It'll show
Yeah.
you what you need to work on very quickly.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big crucible, to move here and go, oh, I want to do this. I think, but man, I got to learn some other stuff. I got to learn how to handle myself, or how to dress, and how to
Yeah.
make a living doing this.
Yeah. Can you timestamp an incredible video that is on YouTube of you, Johnny Thompson, and Jamie Ian Swiss?
Yeah, and Charlie
Uh,
Reynolds.
yeah, talking
Yeah,
about all things magic
yeah.
and related, and it's an incredible discussion. And you do cups and balls.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Ian Swiss does a card production in the beginning, which I thought was really interesting.
Ross Bertram card production thing. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know. Did Johnny do something? I don't remember if
Johnny
John.
live. Johnny did the egg bag, I believe. Yeah. I don't know if they made it to the video, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Can
was
you timestamp?
28.
Okay.
When I was 28. That was 2000, it was 2008 or 9 or something.
Yeah.
The New Yorker Festival. But Jamie had written this great article. Actually, no, excuse me, I take that back. Adam Gopnik wrote a great article about Jamie and David Blaine for the New Yorker magazine, and it's one of the best articles ever written for a lay audience about magic. It's really insightful and uh, very smart. And Adam's one of the best writers ever. But because of that, they had this panel on magic, and Jamie's like, we want you to do this panel. You're going to be the young guy. I was like, oh, why me? Why me? Because I didn't know Johnny that well yet. Johnny and I, we only met once before. We hadn't worked together yet. And Charlie Reynolds, I knew who he was, but I'd never really met him.
Yeah.
I'm just this guy, like this balding kid sitting there, like nervous out of my mind.
It was
And
great.
knowing that James said, oh yeah, you're going to do the cups and balls too. I was like, I have to do it in front of you people.
Right.
Like, I mean, and I was okay. I was an okay musician, but I wasn't salty. I wasn't like, I didn't have the right muscle yet to like,
It was great.
yeah. Now I'd do it and be fine, but man, I was
Yeah.
nervous out of my mind. They were so kind to me though, and to make Johnny Thompson laugh, it's like the Cadillac of laughs, man. If you get Johnny to really
Yeah.
crack up, so
It's
it was a good
interesting.
memory.
it's interesting because I watched that video because the discussion is great, and it's also one of the rare places we can see you on video doing some magic.
Yes.
And it's interesting because the camera kind of, I don't know if you've ever, how many times you've rewatched it or if you've ever
I can't stand
rewatched
to
it.
watch that. I've watched it once or twice. I can't stand watching that stuff.
There's a moment where the camera cuts over. I think you're doing cups and balls, and the camera cuts over to John, and he's watching you in a very proud way,
Yeah.
almost as if like this kid is gonna, he's
You know,
got
there's
the
been a lot.
chops.
I definitely watched those little moments. But, I think there's a moment where I make him laugh.
Yeah.
I say something like, "You'll have to." I'm like rolling my sleeves up, and I just had this line. I would say, "You have to pardon the solid, unforgiving sinew of my forearms."
Yeah.
And gets a laugh, and Johnny went, "Very easy for you to say." And he's
Yeah.
laughing, and like man, that meant the world. And then after I'm done, he goes like, "That was a great job." And I was like, "Oh, that's all I ever need to
That
hear."
that's a good John impression. I have not heard a John impression, but that was pretty
Oh,
good.
Johnny, yeah, Johnny.
Yeah.
Man, I miss. We think of him all the time at speakeasy because we'll hit walls of like, well, what could we do with this moment? What could we do with this moment? How would we improve this? And Johnny would just kind of sit there and go like, well, there's 5 ways you can do that, and
Yeah.
he'd reference some magician that only he
Yeah.
saw back in
Yeah.
1948, and I
Yeah.
mean, God, he was just so smart, man.
I hear a lot of Vernon. I get a
Yeah,
lot of
yes,
me and my
yeah,
circle, we do Vernon and spot on Vernons, and it cracks us up.
yeah.
So
Yeah, they had a similar kind of way of being, I didn't know Vernon obviously, but like, man, we all know the videos of him.
yeah, yeah,
But Johnny was one of those. He and Vernon, he always saw each other. They were contemporaries. They were like
yeah,
working around the same time.
yeah.
But God, the size of his hands and the fact that he could do all that Vernon stuff, and he really
Mm-hmm.
had studied it and really cared about it. He could close up, stage, parlor, illusions.
Yeah.
He was curious and hungry about all of it, and also uh, crucially kind and
Mm-hmm.
gentle. And
Yeah.
if he didn't like you, he'd make it clear, but also I don't know, he was just such a good, gentle man, and
Yeah.
yeah, special
He
guy.
he knew how to not do what Vernon did for magicians and make you maybe quit magic or
Yeah.
change your life entirely.
Now that said, if there was like somebody, a tasteless magician who'd be in his face, he'd go like, "What a
Yeah.
fucking asshole!"
Oh, yeah.
He'd say that kind of stuff. Ask the guy who left,
Yeah.
but he would be gentle, like, there's a better way to do that handling. You gotta
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that. You gotta
Yeah.
actually. Can I show you? And he'd show you. Yeah.
I've heard nothing but great stories. I've heard a good majority of the stories, the good, the bad, and the crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant guy.
So that what an opportunity that must have been.
Yeah.
So you're in New York City. You've done this panel. Let's
Mhm.
fast forward to New York City. Kind of had a weird moment, especially in that time period where it's definitely was not the magic scene that it is
Mhm.
today.
Right.
New York City once again has become like a world-class place for magicians to come and congregate again. Very jealous that I missed that bubble. And you guys have 69 Atlantic and you have
Yeah.
Speakeasy Magic. Talk to me about what it's like being, I don't know if you're aware of it, but you are part of a resurgence of this happening live.
It's I mean, it is funny. I think you nailed it. I'm too on the inside of it. It does hit me occasionally. I mean, I get to walk to work. I live a mile from the show, and I walk there and back, and it's eight shows a week. It is a great time to be me as a magician because it's
Yeah.
just like again, the kid back there in the magic shop never imagined that was possible.
Right.
And it's a good magic show. I mean, we're very proud of it.
Yeah.
And people come who are indifferent to magic or flat out don't like it. They're being dragged there and they leave going like, I didn't know I could enjoy this. This is
And get destroyed.
Yeah. And it's mostly close up magic. It has a grown up attitude to it. I don't know. It's funny. I remember what it was like before this resurgence. I think it was still seen as kind of goofy and dated, and and I don't know what my role. I don't know what my role in that is. I know that like when I kind of got into burlesque in 2010, I'd been a fan of the nightlife sort of variety show formats and made for adults. And when I kind of got asked to be part of that, I figured I need to work on something that will keep a bunch of people who are drunk and horny their attention. So I'm not stripping. So what do I do? And
Right.
I had been doing a quick little cigarette thing of like a cigarette appears and vanishes, then a beer appears, and I was sort of doing that. That turned into this like longer silent thing that had a I've been told has a sensuality to it.
Yeah,
without
absolutely.
so I think that attitude, I'll take credit for some of that, like trying to have magic be uh have some sophistication and some sensuality and some.
Yeah.
I mean, what I could never stand was the, and that, forgive me for saying this way, cruise ship way of
Hmm.
performing manipulation, where it's just all grinning and winking and
Right.
getting the audience to clap, and
Hmm.
and I don't know, it just lots of colors and umbrellas, and I don't know,
Yeah,
it was never my thing. I liked how Alex Boyce, since he was 19, since I met him, does this beautiful, elegant dove act, and it
absolutely.
has a stoicism to it, and a
Hmm.
beauty to it, and a command, and it's that Channing Pollock thing. It's
Hmm.
that, you know, I just hadn't seen it in a while, and I wanted to play with that,
Hmm.
and I think that the two of us, I can take some credit with that, that we've kind of set a tone as far as like, here's what the show is, guys. Like, we're, here's what we think magic can be right here. It's not a bunch of half-assed jokes and then a little
Right.
bad magic trick. It's like
Right.
magic, miracle magic.
Hmm.
Like that's what we hope it can be.
Yeah. Do you feel like with the focus being on quality magic being introduced more to the audiences, do you feel like are they being a little discerning about it, or are they kind of shifting, or do you see that your audiences and people coming in are shifting their perspective on the art of magic?
Well, yeah, like I said, we regularly hear people say that they what the first magic show they've ever been to, and or one that wasn't a kid's show at a birthday party, um, or wasn't forced upon them by like a corporate event. I think there was a giant glut of like comedy magic, which is the phrase. I mean, I think Penn Jillette's the first person I ever heard say it. Was it comedy magic is usually neither.
Yeah.
It's like it's not funny enough to be stand-up comedy. It's not magic enough to be magical. Magical
Yeah.
enough to be magic.
Yeah.
So what the hell is this blob of crap
Right.
that we're
Hmm.
making people watch? And it's not to say that we're not funny at the show, speaking of the magic, or that magic shouldn't be funny. I don't entirely agree with Fernand's thought that the only laughter that should come from magic is the laughter of amazement. But like, it's not a bad goal
Yeah.
to at least I mean, Prakash Peru was the first one to go like, yeah, it's magic. It should be the magic should work. It should be killer magic, and then
Yes.
that should be the thing. Dan Williamson has
Hmm.
that down. Mullica had that down. Like
Hmm.
Penn and Teller had that down. They're funny as hell, but they blow your mind.
Yes.
So I think there was a while there where the reason magic wasn't being respected, I think they weren't doing good magic.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
end of it.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a venue like what they did for us. We owe them so much immersive that made this. They built us a whole venue,
Hmm.
and made it. Um, it almost demanded you take it seriously.
Yeah.
Like you kind of what they put you through to get into that room
Yeah.
puts you into a headspace where you're like, where are we? And
Yeah.
this is a lot of, what is this?
Yes.
And when the first thing starts to happen, you kind of are forced into just you're confronted with it, and
Right.
in a good way, we hope.
Yeah. That's very cool. It's very cool. I think it's really important that you guys are not that you guys are responsible for it, but just in magic in general, with the way it's going, that quality magic is being presented. And it's not just New York, it's
Yeah,
Chicago,
yeah,
California, all the little Nashville. My
yeah.
buddy just went to Nashville and he said House of Cards is incredible. It's
That's
one of
great.
those things that so there is a resurgence in live magic.
I'll say too, we have to give credit to, I mean, just the internet. I mean, like
Yeah.
magic's more accessible now to learn, to do, to see. I mean, I don't think people can tolerate that. For whatever you want to say about TikTok or whatever. And I really don't love magic on camera. I don't love it online, but
Right.
it has made people able to discern some things. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that people can discern music and film and dance, and
Right.
it's ubiquitous. They can go
Yeah.
find it. Magic, you can't find live magic easily. So,
Right.
but we also have a big stand-up comedy revolution right now where people have their favorite comics and
Mm-hmm.
they specials are constantly coming out.
Yeah.
They can tell a hack when they see one. I think they
Yep.
can go like, "Oh, that guy's just doing an hour of crowd work, and he's just look how clever he is.
Yeah.
Can he write a joke?"
Yeah.
I think with magic, they can see it, and I think honestly, Penn and Teller Fool Us has made it's showcased magic better than most anything
Mm-hmm.
has. They want it to look good. They want the magic to look good, and they treat you really well when you do it, and they don't want you to look silly.
Right.
So I think it has the audience has some taste they didn't have before
Mm-hmm.
about magic.
It's
Um,
also being cultivated for the audience as well about what they're seeing and what's being presented magic wise to them,
yeah,
and which is
yeah.
really interesting.
I've watched audiences like these late night audiences. They're fairly hip, man, and
Mm-hmm.
they're
Oh
coming
yeah.
out to see kind of adult entertainment, and by adult I mean just grown up, smart, funny, you know. Um, and this some guy will come up and audition, or a magician will come in and like start making all these hack jokes, and you can hear them.
Yeah.
You can just they don't even groan. They just sit there dead silent, just like
Yeah.
fuck you. Why would you say
Yeah.
that? By the way, can I curse on this? I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a
No.
sailor. I really
No.
am potty
No, it's
mouth.
fine.
But you can feel them just like resenting the
Yeah.
guy, robbing them of their precious time,
Yeah.
and then doing a half-ass magic trick. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and that's like you've seen it 1,000 times, and like I think that like Penn and Teller number one respect the audience's intelligence, and
Yeah.
they're not afraid to talk about big ideas because
Yeah.
audiences are smart.
Mm-hmm.
Those are scientists, doctors, lawyers. Those are people who studied something out there. You know, mechanics, people who care about stuff. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting comedy and comedy magic in general. I'm old school, so like Don Rickles and all that whole crowd of guys, just the roast era of comedy, it was always just great.
Hmm.
Um, and I do have my opinions about some of the younger guys. Some of them are hilarious, and some of
Yeah.
them I'm
Yeah.
like, they're gonna be around for that 15 minute.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Yeah.
get that paycheck and they're gonna clock out in 5 years, and that'll
Yeah.
be it. So,
I mean,
um,
I think audiences can tell when you really care about something, when you really, you brought a show for them. I think audiences, when they got a babysitter and they paid for the cab and they got dinner and
yeah,
they bought tickets, they would like you to
yeah,
bring a show that you wrote,
yep,
you plan to entertain them, and they're
yeah,
in good hands to hand over their power to you for a little while. Like
yeah,
they really want that. And when you just kind of loiter the stage or fart around for a while, I mean, like I've seen entire magic acts where this guy's farting around for a while before he gets to the fucking the oh yeah,
yeah,
oh well, it's a white baby, now it's a black baby or whatever,
yeah,
some
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's thinking about quality magic. I don't know. There's a video out there somewhere of David Williamson, a very young David Williamson, doing. I think there's two or three videos of him doing matrix sequences, and
Mm,
you could just tell he's a young conjurer, right? So he's
mhm,
respecting his props, he's respecting the coin purse.
mhm,
There's just a way to go about it where you're respectful towards it, not just
mm,
pulling stuff out and putting it down and doing all this stuff. And
right.
he's taking the coins out and he's setting them up and he's getting the cards, and then the cards are doing the matrix. That's the first one.
Mhm, mhm,
And then now it's the coins, and there's just a certain way of just going about seeing a young David Williamson in his world of magic exploring these things.
mhm.
And what he's putting out is quality. There's another
Yeah.
one of him doing a coin and wand sequence, and the way he's just handling the wand, we know him,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
very loose with it, and
Yeah.
but the way he's holding it is very, studious. Like he's studied
Mhm,
and he's twirling it and he's
mhm.
tapping and he's doing all of this stuff, and
Yeah.
it's inspiring to see a young David Williamson, like just so much respect for just like even the silly things that he's doing. Like, oh, there's a coin over here, but it's
Yeah.
gone now. And then, this whole thing, it's
Well,
quality.
he's still such a student of it. He's still learning it. He's still practicing it. He's still curious about it. And I think that's the biggest thing is that if you just treat this as a thing that's stagnant and is just a way to get a paycheck,
Right.
okay, fine, you can still be good, I guess. But like the guys I want to be around, the guys who are like they're always they know that it's limitless and it's a place they can always learn from the past or work on what they're they currently have in their repertoire. But I mean, I imagine I saw David Williamson a bunch, but at Magi Fest a few years ago, he was sitting by himself, sort of in the lobby, and I kind of plopped down next to him like, hey, I just want to say hello. I think you're great, and blah blah blah. And he was very nice, and he was like, you want to see something? I was like, yeah, sure. And he went on to pull the living shit out of me. I mean,
Yeah.
like, and again, and it was so natural for him. It wasn't natural. It was natural for David, how David's
Yeah.
hands work, how his body works, how he
Mm-hmm.
sits. And he's
He's
dressed like a
mastered it.
farmer, and he's got his legs wide. And he's having me shuffle the deck, but he's already culled out two fours of a kind. They're under both knees,
Right.
and and I didn't see any of it. It just went right by me, man.
Yeah.
But he can really talk it. Like
Yeah.
they had us teach a class at Tandem's camp together, which is like, what, me? What? Why would I? It was like me, him, and Adam Elbaum. Like, why am I here? I'm like one of the kids.
That's funny.
But hearing him talk about it, he can really reference the things and talk about the
Yeah.
magicians he knew, and
Mm-hmm.
he hates to hear this kind of thing. I was like, man, you're one of those guys you used to look up to. That's who you are to all of us. We
Yeah.
all like revere you, and
Yeah.
you have those stories. Give me those stories, the stories of
Yeah.
Vernon, and then we want to hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel that way with AMR, regardless of
Oh
the
yeah,
controversy. I think I went to go see AMR. He was just here for a lecture, and just regardless of the contents of what he's lecturing on, just seeing him work is,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you have, but for people who are listening, if you can find the Revelations videos, get them, watch them.
They're incredible.
It's a contrast of who MR is now, but it's interesting to see the progression of him and where he took those moments and where he progressed through them through time. So it's
funny.
just, these are people we looked up to, world greatest magic specialists. These were, and here's Michael Amar, and he's doing cups and balls and pulling the shit out of everybody. And
well, I mean, it's so funny. I mean, he's got that touch, man. He's got the hair. That's so funny because he was so young, and Vernon was so old. Vernon's just like yelling at him, like, I don't know. It's like he's like, "Would you ever do a consecutive center deal?" He's like, "Consecutive center? Why on earth would you?"
I would never do that.
Yeah, he's like yelling. Doesn't Gary Willett do like a routine between two speakers or something on that thing? Where he's like, at least he's doing this whole.
It's such a
so bizarre.
Yeah, it's
so
such
bizarre.
a random. That's one of my favorite parts. Is like we're doing good and Vernon's grumpy. I would never do that. This all, and then here's Gary Olet doing this routine, and I'm like, where the fuck is this from? Like
what disco music?
Yeah, and he's like doing this like elegant thing in the middle of it, and I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, who thought that was a good idea? I know.
No wonder why he was grumpy through the whole thing. He had to sit there for shit like that.
Yeah, right. Then you have Steve Freeman, who like you sit there and like really like it's like I think for me like in that session is like the guy who's like you're like, man, this is how you handle these cards. That's how you that's what Vernon was talking about. That but no, look, Amar, I mean he's been nothing but kind to me, and I
absolutely
think I mean we all learned a lot from watching that guy, and I think his Cups and Balls book was really bad, but like other than that, I think no problem with him.
His wand spin explanation, aside from I think maybe Elliot's now, short plug, Elliot Terrell has a Raconteur Conjuring website. Go on it.
Yeah.
He has a tutorial for wand spin, most in-depth one. But Amar's in his book is the only one that has like a solid picture and description to it.
Yeah. No, the Amar's book, just his magic book, is fantastic. I mean, I used to do the coin on the head, in their handle. I mean, that was right back when I had hair. It would hold a coin. It was, God, I love it. And you're right. That is an excellent description. Yeah. The drawings are perfect. No, it's great. Yeah,
because Vernon's is very like vague. It's, I mean, you can get it down, but
wish I had a stick here. I'd do it right now.
Yeah. I have a whole bunch, and I'm still figuring out the wand situation. I bought so many wands in the past like week and a half, and I'm like, this one's great, good, and this one's,
It's funny. I've moved into doing the cups with I have
a cocktail
the
spoon, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I like it, and I want it to all feel like in olives. I want it to feel kind
yeah,
of like thinking I just picked up. Because I mean, the best version of the cups and balls you'll ever do is when you're in someone's kitchen
right.
and you borrow their coffee cups and you borrow this. I mean, I did it. I was in Birmingham, Alabama, and I saw this in a bowl of fruit, and I knew if once I have that, I'm like, all right, I just need four
Yeah,
small objects
yeah,
a wand, and
yeah,
it was blew everyone's mind. It was just stuff I grabbed.
yeah.
So if I'm trying to have that feeling, even though it's a formal show, and I want it to feel like a show that I
The
took these from
Skinner
a bar.
effect
Yeah, that exactly. Watching Michael Skinner do on Johnny Carson the three cups is like
with the
coffee cups.
cherries.
Yes, yes, that that
Yeah,
that's what I like to have. Yeah.
me and my best
Um,
friend in Magic, we talk every day, and we talk about these clips, and we're always consuming these old clips and talking about it. And that one is the one that we talk about, and we just go, "He's a real wizard. Like he's just an
man,
absolute."
that false transfer. Oh,
Yep, that's
incredible,
yeah.
incredible, just incredible. And the
Um,
way he handled that knife, the way it spins, and the way it's
mhm,
just everything's motivated, and he's
yeah.
incredible. Yeah,
And the loads are just one of those things where it's coming, but it's
yeah,
so invisible that
yeah, yeah.
it's incredible. But yes,
Tremendous.
watching your version, the one you do that you just recently did on, was it Good Morning America?
The Today Show.
Today Show, sorry.
Yeah, no,
Um, one of the early shows.
it was early.
Yeah, is great. It actually kind of pissed me off that they cut it.
Well, it's
Uh,
what it goes. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd written Penn Jillette about this. I've done TV. I've never done like a morning
yeah, yeah,
talk show. I know they want to talk, and his advice is like, look, they want you to look good, but
yeah,
they have a need to talk. And
yeah,
they were so good to me. They were so kind to me,
yeah.
and I had planned out the timing of maybe doing one or both, maybe one of these tricks, not
Mm-hmm.
both. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, do both. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
well,
have to crank through this.
yeah,
But they kind of asked some questions that went a little long, and just it is what it is. I mean, they have to cut the
yeah,
commercial. You got to see some fruit come out.
yeah. No, it was really good, and I think I'll just quickly plug your umbrella effect. The is in
Yeah,
Genie. Was it last
yeah, yeah. It
month
came
or
out in
what?
Jane a few months ago. Yeah, yeah. It was pretty cool to do original piece on live TV. That felt fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great. And then to find out that it was in Genie, I was like, perfect,
yeah,
because I
yeah.
loved it so much that I was like, I got to dive into it and check it out.
The Jerks just he just posted a version of he saw it, and I guess the newsletter he does, he had his own little way of doing it, much more direct, and loved it. Really smart.
That's
Or it's
awesome.
like an origami. He's good at doing origami. Is what his whole story is, and
Yeah,
that made me proud. I'm proud of that. I get to do it every night, and it's fun to watch people,
yeah.
uh, freak out at it.
When you're in the moment with your audience, do you feel like you prefer to be? Do you have um two different ways to go into it? Like, do you have your stuff where you can just kind of jazz through some stuff, and then there's some things that kind of glue it all together, or do you
Mm.
like a structured?
At Speakeasy, it's pretty structured because we have 12 minutes at each table, and you kind of want to you need to be tight, and you can go shorter. You don't want to go longer because it can screw
Mm-hmm.
up the whole flow of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty tight. I mean, I leave room in there to if people want to talk or ask questions, I can play with that. So I have a good minute or two of leeway for myself. When it comes to working, and like not outside of the show, I do want it to feel like we're here. Aussie Wind is a great way of putting it. That um, it's not the first time this trick has happened. It's the only time it's ever going to happen. That's the way
Yeah.
he wants it to feel, and I think that applies to just not only the trick but how you performed it. Like today, if you were here, you get to see this crazy thing happened, and the guy
Right.
was really there with us, really talking to us. And
Mm-hmm.
the mantra I have before I go on for anything is like, all right, let's communicate, let's really talk to them and really listen
Mm-hmm.
to them, and let's live right now, let's be right here, and don't
Yeah.
the second that if it starts to feel like I'm doing a script, which
Mm-hmm.
it is a script. It
Mm-hmm.
is written. It is
Yeah.
typed. But if it starts to feel like um, a bunch of bits, or
Yeah.
like I think modern audiences resent you for it. I just saw Teller. He was in town they were doing the Today Show, and I was talking to him about that, about like how I like how natural Penn sounds. You know,
Yeah.
he really is he really is there presently.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you hear these guys who are just like they're just performing at you. I think modern audiences resent you. They
Yeah.
really are like, ew,
Yeah.
why you went from the fun guy who was in a conversation to this automaton who,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question or not.
You know, you did. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with scripting,
Mm,
because I'm a writer, so it amongst all the other hats I wear, so it's difficult. Like if I'm doing a screenplay where we're
mm,
talking about strictly dialogue and descriptions
mm,
of scenes and things like that, it's just dialogue, right? So
mm,
it's like, and then at one point I tried to apply just script to something I was working on and try to make it feel natural, and it didn't. So
mm,
I have a love hate relationship with it, because I think a lot of the young guys coming into it go right into, well, when I was 5 years old, I came,
mm,
I went to the magic
mm.
shop and I found this
Yeah,
pencil, and
yeah,
I think it's good to start with, but I
yes.
think you got to kind of like break it up a
That's
little bit more.
I see it as a flow chart. I see it as um. There's that old thing about like I mean I did a lot of theater and you're doing Shakespeare, which is like, well, you're not
Mhm.
going to change this. This is not where we're
Mhm.
going to riff. Then you see Mark Rylance do it, one of these great
Mhm.
actors who can do it, and you see like, God, it sounds like they're just thinking of this stuff. They're just saying it for the first time. And it's because
Mhm.
they don't know. They walk out. Great actors sometimes walk out and they don't know what they're going to say. They have it
Right.
memorized,
Right.
but they don't know how they're going to attack it tonight. And
Mm.
I know when I sit down at those tables to speak, I know what I'm going to say, but also I'm open to what if they say something else to me? What if
Mhm.
they throw me a curveball? I need to listen and respond, and might
Right.
or at this joke that I have that I'm you say jokes because you hope they'll laugh. But
Mhm.
if the audience feel like you're asking them to laugh, they'll also resent you. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
can I rephrase that joke? Can I make it feel fresh to myself? Can I go with what I'm actually feeling in the moment and say that
Mhm.
instead of that precious joke I have?
Yeah.
Um, I do think scripting. About all this thing, I think about audiences. They want to feel they're in good hands. They want to they want to feel like you're taking them somewhere, that you have them, you got them, that
Mhm.
you have the confidence to just guide them where we're going to go. Really, they're the one in charge. They're the
Yeah.
one that they can go. Well, yeah, that's great. I'm going to get on my cell phone now, or
Right.
I'm going to actually have a conversation with this person now, or I'm going to get
Right.
up, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Um, it's this illusion of who's in control. Really, they have it. They bought the ticket. They're the boss,
Mhm.
but they want to feel this illusion that
Right.
we have somebody who knows how to plant their feet on stage and command the space and take them somewhere. And
Yeah.
so it's a complicated. And I think to do that, you have to get the sense that I think crowd work is great.
Mhm.
I think it got a little too with TikTok and everything. It got a little
Yeah.
too. I sound old as shit saying that, but like it's just like
No.
it's a little overrated.
Yeah.
It's nice sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
You didn't hear George Carlin do a lot of crowd work. You didn't
Yeah.
hear,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Do you feel like there are moments when you're performing where someone, however they got there, they do pull out their phones and you're like, oh shit,
Um,
we're pulling out cell phones, or
uh,
a cell phone. I'm pretty sure with
you
you it's
have
not.
to. I'll say this: if you're on stage, you should probably ignore that
Yeah.
unless they're being disruptive, unless they're like having a loud conversation or they get on their phone.
Yeah.
You kind of need the audience to kind of get a little annoyed with them too,
Mhm.
because they can't see that person.
Mhm.
They have no idea what you're talking about. They're like,
Yeah.
they're wondering why you aren't still doing the show. Why are you
Yeah.
distracted by this person? And that took a
Mhm.
long time for me to learn to like let them be. They're on the phone. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're texting. Who cares?
Yeah.
Just focus on the 99% of people who are watching. Close up tables. If someone does it similarly, I'll kind of like I might look at them briefly, like everything okay? And that's
Mhm.
Jeff Kellogg's line recently is like everything okay?
Everything.
And then they go, oh, and they put it, or
Right.
um, if they're really going for a long time and it's kind of right in front of me, I'll go like, there's a bar. If you need to go have a phone call, you can. I'm
Yeah.
trying to go with kindness first,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Respecting whatever they're doing on the
yeah,
phone.
it might
Yeah.
be it might be really important, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's also everyone else is watching,
Yeah.
and sometimes they'll self-police enough if they kind of get a sense of like, wow, that is really distracting that you're doing. They'll self-police and do the job for you. I
Mm-hmm.
think
Yeah.
the heckler shutdown thing. I mean, it has a place and it can be very funny and
Mm-hmm.
the audience can love you for it, especially if that heckler earned it by being
Yeah.
disruptive and that now you're like, hey, and they will find it heroic, but at the same time, I don't know. I think it's a little overrated. I think often you kind of like just keep moving. Again,
Yeah.
I asked Pendulette about this thing. He's like, look, I don't, most of the crowd is having a great time.
Yeah.
Why would I break the trick up to deal
Yeah.
with that idiot?
Yeah. I feel like it's a little bit different in today's world. I haven't performed. I'm building a show to perform, and I've showed certain people the full, dress rehearsal, and
Mhm.
I think that's something that I'm always thinking about. Only because before that it was they can just look down, or they can look around, and they can.
Mhm.
And now it's like, boom, we're on TikTok, and now we're doom scrolling, and then it's like,
Mhm.
what's going on over there? Like you said, is everything okay? Do you need to step off the table for a moment? Do you need to?
Right,
So,
right.
what advice do you have for, I guess, new magicians, young magicians who are getting into performing more publicly, and
Mhm.
how do they deal with that?
Uh, it's funny when I first got to New York, I went and saw Chamber Magic, Steve Cohen, and
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen a ton of live magic, and I'd never seen anything like that, like parlor kind of thing, and he did some effects I'd never heard of PK touches, and he fried me and it scared the shit out of me, and direct mind reading stuff, and
Yeah.
I asked him after, I said, hey, can I just ask you a question, like how do you get your hands to stop shaking? I was having that adrenaline thing where
Yeah.
he's like, oh, there's no other way. You have to do it more. You got to perform more. You got to perform more. And I think to young magicians, it's like, yeah, mostly it's gonna be your friends. Mostly it's gonna be friends of friends. Mostly it's gonna be, um, but you know, open mics are really big. Um, Dropping in and doing things and getting past the nerves of it. Maybe you suck so bad they don't want you back. That's okay. There's
Yeah.
other ones. It depends on it depends on what town you're in. New York, there's a lot of opportunity for that. I think you gotta really picture what you would want to see,
Mm-hmm.
and the more that you can be yourself, the more that you can be what you would like to see on stage. If someone looked like you, had your body type, your shape, and your style, or had your interests, like what would keep your interest them walking out on stage? How would they stand?
Mm-hmm.
What would they say? There's a big tendency to try to be like someone else.
Right.
Really,
Yeah.
that cliche, the most interesting thing is an individual and you. And so
Right.
like it takes a long time to be yourself. It takes a long
Mm-hmm.
time that I'm finding myself doing less and less and I try to sit down and really kind of say, hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, right, and try to be
Right.
this not performing at them human being, and that will kind
Right.
of come out. The tricks will come out with has that, but I kind of want to establish like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm here too. I'm just a
Yeah. Yeah.
guy, which I am.
Yeah. 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 I think humanizing it, right?
Yeah,
Instead of we're performers and we're in
yeah,
auto mode and pick a
yeah.
card
Can't
and do
stand it.
this. And, yeah.
That said, when I go see a band play, I don't want to see them noodle around and fart around in front of me. I want to see a show. You go to Broadway, you want to see a well
Right.
rehearsed, tight show that they're
Yeah.
not just like, okay, okay, take a
Yeah.
card. Yeah, yeah, yes. you
Exactly.
know. So it's
You
bridging that gap of like performative yet also clearly a 3D person.
Yeah. So you've consulted before.
Hmm.
Um what do you we've talked a little bit about advice on dealing with audiences a little bit. What is the difference between and how you should shape yourself, to be more yourself, which sounds crazy, but I mean, it's true. How is it with consulting? You're going to consult with somebody and you're performing your own magic, and now you're having to help somebody else shape theirs. So,
Yeah.
or
Um,
whatever it is you're consulting on. How
yeah,
is
I don't do that much anymore. I did it for a good while. It was kind of like bridging my theater degree with magic, I thought. And I had some good shows I worked on. I mean, I'm like, working on Play Dead with Todd Robbins and Johnny Thompson and directed by Teller. That was like the peak of, it was a horror play, seance
that's
that
cool?
three of my favorite people on earth. And that was a highlight. And I was really kind of just supplementing what Johnny was doing.
Yeah,
Um, and then Teller and I worked together on production of like Beth, and that was such a big deal for me too, around the same time. And I'd say a lot of projects were very frustrating. I found it very frustrating to, and I always regret saying yes because like they're like
mm-hmm.
uh, they already have the costumes designed and being built, they have the set built, they have the actors, and then like, can we put some magic in here? And it's like that's just not how good magic works. That's
Right.
not how good special effects work.
Yeah,
Plugging it in, it looks like what it is. It was plugged
yeah,
in, and
yeah.
dealing with, you know, I don't know, magicians are, for all their many faults, they tend to be self-made and they tend to be kind of practical as far as like what they know can and can't happen. And so it's easy to work with magicians on sleight of hand to kind of take what Jamie taught me and pass it on to other
Right.
magicians. That's fun and all. There's only a few directors now that I think if they wrote me for the right project, I'd say yes to it. My friend Chris
Mm-hmm.
Marino, we've done two productions of Dracula,
Oh,
and it's
nice.
so much fun because he really understands everything I just said about like you can't just plug this in. We got to build a set around these
Mm-hmm.
Dracula appearing or vanishing. We have to build a set around someone being staked, having a
Yeah.
stake shoved in their heart, and it
Mm-hmm.
looking good, and the blood coming out, and like we have to talk about blood tubing, and we talk about
Yeah.
like black art and all these
Mm-hmm.
things. And if you have someone who cares about that, Chris, I would lay in the street for, but like
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways I'm kind of done with saying yes to a lot of consulting. I mean, I did a production of Carrie, and it was really fun. The Carrie the musical and
Oh, nice. Yeah.
levitations and telekinesis and moving things, and like though it turned out well and I'm very proud of it, I was very frustrating because it was like you have to have the lighting designer on your side, the costume designer
Mm-hmm.
on your side, the actor on your side,
Mm-hmm.
when you're I did a production of Witches of Eastwick where the main actor I had to work with, she just would not, she wasn't up for doing anything.
Really? Huh.
And so I said to the director, I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
I
Was
don't know
she
what to
playing a
do.
witch?
No, he's playing someone who's being affected by witches, so like
Oh, I'm like,
coughing up things and
yeah.
things are spewing out of her mouth,
Yeah.
and but didn't want to do any of it. And so I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here in town. Yeah, you got me for this
Yeah.
time. What do
It's interesting
So
though.
yeah. It's very. I find it more frustrating. Rick Baker is a makeup artist I admire and love, and
Yeah.
he put out a 2-volume book about his entire career because he's retired now. And almost every movie he was on is just a horror story of dealing with egos and
Wow.
actors and directors and budgets. And I read that, I went, yeah, I think I might be done. I think I don't want to. I don't want
Note
to do
to
this shit anymore.
self: don't
Yeah,
consult.
I'm mainly a performer. I like walking out on stage, and I'll consult very rarely now. Yeah,
But I think it's really important as not just a magician, but as a performer as well to understand that. Like, don't cross it
yes,
off your list if that's not
yes.
something.
If
Um,
if Teller calls and wants to work on a fun project, I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
in a
of
heartbeat. Because
course,
like that's, I know it's going to be cool, and I'm going to learn a lot. And
of
but
course.
that's about, yeah. Other than that, I'm kind of like this.
Yeah,
Broadway, yeah. For me, Broadway was a little overrated. It's like Broadway is just a word, doesn't mean anything. It means like a bigger pain in the ass.
my uncle always said something very similar because I always asked him, "How come you haven't done Broadway?" Well, I've consulted. He goes, "But I don't
Ugh.
want to jump into that world because it's different." He always liked the independence of off Broadway or the
Yeah,
smaller theater productions because
right.
that's everybody wants to collaborate. Everyone wants
That's
to,
right.
you
They're
know,
excited.
yeah. So it's
Here you
really
got a
interesting,
union guy who's like pissed that you're even talking to him.
right?
Like, yeah, not into it. Yeah,
Um, I think it's really interesting to think about. You were talking about the elements of how certain things are plugged in, and they're just not going to look good. it reminded me of the new Nosferatu movie. I don't know if you've
Mm.
seen it
I
yet.
saw it. Yeah.
So it's really interesting because that whole team of people are left with having to bring up to date, a movie from the 1920s and then like
Mhm.
a somewhat good one in between.
It was
And
Werner Herzog.
now,
Yeah.
right. And now you got to present that entire storyline
Yeah.
to a new
Yeah.
audience. So, what does that look like and how do you do it well?
So funny is this remake of a ripoff,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
Nosferatu it's ripped off Dracula in the 1920s, and
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was an achievement. I mean, the look and sound of that movie is kind of like so consistent, and yeah, they had to go somewhere different. I mean, it wasn't just putting a mustache on him; it was like they had to
Yeah.
almost flesh out
Right.
why does he want her so badly?
Right.
What's the human story, even though
Right.
he's
It's Phantom
not
of the
human
Opera.
anymore? Yeah, yeah,
It's exactly what
yeah.
it's Phantom of the Opera. It's um there's certain things like the mustache, like the cloak, like
Hmm.
him being humanized to make it look
Yeah,
like he's just dying inside because he's a
yeah,
vampire. And
right.
I think that's important to know. It's the same thing with magic. There's certain things that like they're just not going to look good. They knew that the 1920 version of Nosferatu, where you're bald and you look like an alien, and there's the long
Hey, I
fingers.
take that personally. What did you?
We got to cut it here. Sorry. Uh, um, yeah, I think it's yeah. There's certain elements where you had to recreate this entire world again and say that looks
Yeah,
ridiculous.
right.
But if there was this count person who was
Hmm.
dying because he's a vampire and wants this person, what
Yeah.
does a rich count look like who has unbelievable wealth and
Hmm.
internal life for immortal life forever?
Right.
So,
He's also paid a dark price to have that. I mean, it's interesting to think about the whys of magic. That story has magic in it, and I'm always like
hmm
thinking about like not that I don't think I showed this very often, other than maybe like a moment of like trying to make the trick work. Like the magical cause of making a trick work to advance. But like, what does it cost you to make a deal with the devil, or
hmm
what does it cost you to drink the blood of the living? And
yeah,
and I love that kind of magical thinking of good storytelling of that
hmm
is magic easy? You
yeah,
just walk around and just snap your fingers like Tim the Enchanter from
yeah, yeah,
Holy Grail, like is it just you just point at stuff and fire it? Is it cost you nothing, or
yeah,
is it exhausting? Is it invigorating? And what
yeah,
thinking about these things, I'm not quite on the world of being like, I'm sorry, an apology to other guests, but like pretending I'm a wizard. I
right,
like I like the push and pull of
yeah,
this is a trick, and I'm just a guy, but yet
right.
it
We're not
feels
sure,
real. It
right,
feels real and
right,
approachable. I like that juxtaposition, and
yeah,
that's just my personal taste. But
yeah,
I do think when you're doing the magic, I think it has to be committed.
yeah,
And I'll say something too. I think it took me a long time to not have an ironic distance from magic and not have an ironic distance from the moment of magic, where I was
mm,
like lightly taking the piss out of it while I did it,
hmm
but where you commit to the vanish, you commit to
yeah,
the feeling of impossibility. Because
yeah,
I didn't always, I think in my uh, the lack of experience, I was afraid of it. I was afraid of being magical in some way.
yeah. I mean, we talked about like just that Skinner effect, right? Like being able to, before you're revealing a card, take a moment to, I don't know,
Mm.
maybe fix the corner or,
Yeah,
feel the
yeah,
card. And the people
yeah,
are like, just fucking turn it over already.
yeah,
Look.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
so
so
great,
you just
so
kind of like
great. Yeah,
casually turn it over and everyone just explodes, right? So
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's
It's
that.
tension and release,
Yeah.
and you got to build the tension somehow before you can release it. Yeah, I think I wonder where I'm gonna go as I get older. Like I'm 40, but about to be 46. So the past, you know, 20, 25 years of New York City learning to be a magician. Um, and now it did become a job at some points where it was just kind of a thing I had to go do, and that's not good. I wanted it to continue to evolve. Um, but I definitely think that there's some things like mentalism, like where
hmm
I do quite a bit of it, but I feel like I had to age into it.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed to have some gravity to myself that
Mm-hmm.
comes kind of naturally with age, where you calm down and
Mm-hmm.
you don't pace and you don't, it's chirpy.
Yeah.
And I still have a problem with most minimalism. I don't quite know what it is for me, but
Yeah.
I'm evolving into this thing where I don't know. I think I'll
Yeah.
always like conjuring. I think I'll always like object
Mm-hmm.
magic, and I'll like, how can I look? It doesn't surprise me when you do the gravity of revealing a name,
Right.
the gravity of revealing a place or a memory, and that someone cried over it. No shit,
Yeah.
but like when someone cries over a card trick, which happens,
Mm-hmm.
it's a crazy thing to watch someone like get emotional over the
Yeah.
feeling that it just had.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I find that more profound. I
Yeah.
find it more of a
100%.
shocking to me and beautiful to me.
And I think part of my teether on that is that I think that if magicians are trying so hard to get that, it fails
Hey,
every single time. I think if you're doing, doing magic and being yourself, and like you were
yes,
talking about, that will come. You don't know what's gonna come, right? Like
yeah,
you don't know what the reaction's gonna be, but you do
right.
know that it's not gonna be, oh, well, that was horrible. you know?
Well, it's the same thing. It's like it's if you ask for a laugh, early on, doing speakeasy, we had this guy. Oh God, he would like. He's not around as much if at all, but he would like ask for. He would basically say like, "All right, if this goes well, I'll get a standing ovation, right?" And you would see them all go like, uh,
Now or
yeah, right, and you could feel them going like, "Fuck you!" Like, don't ask me to laugh. Don't ask me to do a standing ovation. Don't ask me to fucking clap for you. Like, that usually gets applause, that kind of
yeah,
shit.
it's
I think
thirsty.
it is thirsty, and most
Yeah,
audiences, I think, just they know what it is, and they
that's
go,
what the kids
"Ew,
call it, thirsty.
thirsty." I'm aware of.
Yeah. I Hey, my daughter
I know
tells me
some
things, and I'm
stuff.
like, okay,
Damn it!
yeah,
I used the word TikTok earlier, didn't I?
yeah.
So,
I'm out of the loop as well. My will be 16 this year, and it's like
oh
a whole
wow,
other language, and I'm like,
it's a
I
different
don't,
species, man.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's the
um,
way it ought to be. It's the way it has to be. They have their own language, and we end up being out of it. I think it's the way it has to go.
yeah, and but it's going back to what you're saying though, like with performing, I think there's that younger generation of magicians who are trying to implement the fashionable language, and
Oh, oh,
it's cringy. I'm
it
sorry
is
for those who
cringy.
do it. It's just one of those things where it's like you'll get to a point of where that's not a. It's
Well,
yeah. I
I
I
think
can we that could be an entire episode on its own, but
I think it's Jamie quoting Max Maven, but I've heard Jamie say it a bunch. It's in Magic, if you're 10 years behind, you're cutting edge.
yeah,
And that's what's wild is watching guys who are still stuck in 1980 something,
yeah,
or guys still making Monica Lewinsky jokes, or John Wayne Bobbitt when they cut a rope or some shit. And you're like, it's just like, man, I don't think you know, uh,
yeah,
I mean, I'm all for being current, but also like
yeah,
read the news occasionally, maybe update your jokes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I just watched Bill Malone's videos series and love Bill Malone, not shit
yeah,
talking him at all. But
no,
there's that time period of when he was performing, he was able to get away with all the things that he was,
Bill Malone.
yeah, yeah, doing and saying and gently touching and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, right, right.
But even like he was doing, I think the Slidini Silks or something like that, and
Yeah,
there was some jokes in there that I was like, oh shit, like,
I mean, I'm famous for always going back to Penn and Teller. Same way Penn always goes back to Bob Dylan about everything. Is that
yeah,
with Penn and Teller from day one, we're not going to comment on someone's appearance.
yeah,
I don't care if they have a blue mohawk, we're not going to mention it.
yeah,
We're not gonna comment on their sexiness.
yeah,
We're not going to touch people in a sexual way. We're not
yeah,
going to even. By the way, they've for the most part had they them as their gender, as their pronoun. So what I want them to do, what I like, they don't know who they're dealing with. It's a person, there's a whole person in front of them. Why are they
yeah,
going to treat them like
yeah,
a prop? And the corny thing. I mean, God, watching Copperfield grind behind a woman during some stuff, and like, so, especially after what we know, so fucking gross.
yeah. What do we know?
Yeah.
Let's unpack that. No. Don't. Yeah.
We know we know
Yeah.
a lot of women have said some pretty foul things, and
Yeah. Yeah.
fuck his library and his
Yeah.
fucking collection. I don't need to see it. He can eat shit. That's
That's
what we
great.
know.
How do you keep your magic fresh? Like, how are you? Because you're
Mm,
busy, you know, scheduling people to come on. They're like, hey, I'm doing this and that and that. So
yeah.
I got like 2 hours, and I'm like, okay. So it's
Oh yeah. It gets. I mean, look, it's keeping it fresh. You know, when you're doing some of the same things all the time. I added a new thing to the cigarette act recently that it's been I've been doing it in a similar way for a couple of years, and that is something new. It's kind of when it hits you. I mean, a lot of it's sitting down and playing with ideas. It does get harder the more that you're doing it professionally, the more you're doing it for money. It does get harder to make new things. That said, when I was with Teller recently, looking at his notes for new material, they're just cranking out new stuff all the time. That's all they do. You
really,
know, and it's just they're always making new things, massive notes on a trick, like just pages and pages of notes on a trick, and that's just what they do for 50 years. We're going to work on new stuff. We're going to. So the end of the story is I'm just lazy. The
mm-hmm.
fact that I'm not working that hard doesn't mean that I'm not as, I am lazier than them. And um, the umbrella trick, which is the only thing I've ever really published, I've kept a lot of things just for myself. But that was when my wife and I were in a bar and they had the little napkin umbrellas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's make a trick with one of these. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
what would the trick be? I often have a toothpick in my mouth, so like, what
yeah,
if, and I do this napkin trick already, so
yeah,
um, sometimes it just kind of coming. Tell you what, I'm not creative with. I'm being honest. I am not creative with card magic.
really,
I can't think of new effects in card magic. I've only thought of a few that I feel like are mine, but like
mm-hmm.
for the most part, man, it's like God, they've taken the meat off the bone with that. They
Yeah,
keep bringing up new ideas all the time, but it's like I like reading I'm very big on reading the old stuff, and
yeah,
I love reading old magic and trying to find something in that. When it comes to me making a new thing, I'm too busy reading the old stuff to do it.
mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just an excuse.
Yeah,
Trying to be honest with myself, you know.
yeah. That's kind of been my love-hate relationship with developing what I'm doing. Is that I know what I can perform, and then I was like, let me just kind of expand it a little bit, and I was like, let's really hone in on cups and balls because, and so like buying different props, and now I'm doing coins and cylinder. Like I don't know if it's gonna make it in stuff, but the fact that we're playing with it and understanding it and where it's gonna go, and then taking a week and being like, you know what, I hate all of it, and just like scrapping all of it
Yeah,
is like also
yeah,
really important to
yeah,
like understand that world as well. But I do
yeah,
think it's important to like have your stuff that you're doing over and over and over and over and over again. Like you
yeah,
said, adding something to the cigarette act
yes,
is, I'm sure it's a couple years worth of you thinking about it and saying, well,
yeah.
how do we get that done? And what does that look like? And where would it go? And
That's one new thing that happened literally within 15 minutes because it had to.
yeah.
There was a moment where we're moving the show quickly to a new venue where they put us on the roof of the McKittrick where the sight lines were so bad it was no longer proscenium.
Mm-hmm.
There was like people to my left and right almost behind me.
Yeah.
And I had a moment where there was a old cigarette, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like Tom Mullica teaches, and it's this
Yeah.
beautiful thing. That's got the worst angle here, where you're just seeing a
Mm-hmm.
cigarette, and and
Yeah.
so I was like, well, I can't do that there. So what do I do? And I found a way to do something similar but angle proof, and I built it really fast, and it became permanent. It became a thing that's just in there,
Mm-hmm.
and so necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be pushed to find it. But I mean, honestly, doing the same shit all the time gets boring. So it's just fun. If I have the option of like the slipper room and I have these stages I can go beyond, why not bring out new things? The hardest part of speaking thematic is that the hardest part of putting new things in there is not overlapping with someone else who's doing something similar. We want the audiences to see all different stuff. So I've had great ideas for things. I'm like, well, I can't do it. It's just too
Yeah.
close to these other two guys,
Right.
and so why bother bringing it in?
That's
Um,
interesting too.
yeah,
Being in an environment where it's like overlapping material may not be a good idea.
yeah, you're gonna have that if you work gigs with other people. If you do any kind of variety show, I mean, my God, I was at the Slippery Room one night, and I was all set up for the cigarette act. Everything's in every pocket, all the pins, everything's pinned in. And there's this guy visiting from out of town. And he's doing magic. I was like, oh, hey, what are you doing? Like, well, I'll do a cigarette thing. It's like, what? what kind of cigarette thing? I was like, I went, I'm loaded up to do my whole cigarette ad. Do you have another ad? It's like, no, it's the only thing I'm doing. I'm like, shit. So I
Yeah.
took everything out, ran to the store, bought some fruit, got a knife,
Shit.
just now I got to do something different now,
Yeah.
and that's it's good to have other material. And so I
Yeah.
tell people if you're traveling to another show, you're dropping in, bring more than one act,
Yeah.
bring five, bring 4 or 5 if you can, just
Yeah.
so you're the guest, have something else to do.
Yeah. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I just bought a doctor bag that on the listing it was described much smaller, and it's
Right.
actually like a Mary Poppins, a little bit smaller than a Mary Poppins size bag. But he was like, "What, are you going to bring that to gigs?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Why such a big bag?" And I'm like, "Because I have everything I need in the bag. So if I don't want to do
Mm,
something, or
mhm.
I'm somewhere and somebody's doing something similar, I can go
Yeah,
in this magical
yeah,
bag and pull
yeah.
out." Or, I even have stuff for gimmicks really quick if I need to split something and like do it really quick and like,
Yeah,
do
man.
it.
The readiness is all, man. I think I tend to have in my bag close up stuff, something for just sitting down at a table,
Yeah.
something if they want me to show a trick to everybody. I have some options. I'm not somebody bringing two gigantic bags, but I have stuff I can do,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that just comes with time too, knowing that like, I mean, I had this problem at a gig, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna have that happen again. And that's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a shame it takes so damn long to learn these things.
Yeah.
You can't be taught this stuff. You have to really get out
Yeah.
there in the trenches and learn it.
Well, it's like cups and glasses too. Like I have a wine glass and a low ball just in case, like wherever I'm at, they may not have one.
Yeah,
And if that was like one of the middle piece of the three things you were going to
yeah,
do, then
yeah.
you're SOL. So,
That's right. That's right. That's right.
so
Exactly.
you've taught at Tannen's Magic Camp.
hmm
What's one thing young magicians think is important, but it really isn't?
What's something that young magicians think is important, but
But
it
really
really
isn't.
isn't?
It's a riddle.
Um, Damn, that's a really good. Rubik's cubes. I'm kidding. No, no.
But I
That was
slightly
mean.
agree. Is that
Um,
okay?
that's a very good. Oh, I think. Wow. Yeah, it's funny. The kids I met there are just incredible. They're really, really, really incredible. So good. Like far, way really advanced. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's just the internet or what, but um, Eugene Berger had this thing about like that he was paring down what tricks he actively did. He's like, I used to do like 30 tricks. I'm doing around 10 now. I think I'm moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you got to have a good repertoire where you have a big variety of things you can do, but I think it's really nice if you can focus on what are these handful of ones you can master or get what you can just do in your
Mm-hmm.
sleep.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. They think it's important, but it isn't. Um, yeah, I don't know. They seem like they're all doing it pretty well. I mean, I think the kids are all right. I think they tend to, be more sensitive, more kind, more open to the world than the generation before them, and I think, okay, well, I think that right now, as far as current, if I had to talk about today, I think there's a lot, there might be the Spanish school influence, but there's a
Mm.
lot of, I just do card magic.
Yeah.
I just do stack stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting really excited about cards matching and I'm screaming for no reason.
Yeah.
Again, about the sincerity thing. I
Yeah.
think that like that screaming over the fact that some cards matched and that's all they do is card magic and they can't palm a coin. They can't they can't switch anything. They can't do these rudiments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's a flaw. I think to be a well-rounded magician, you should be able to pick up something and vanish it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
have something, hold something out for a long time and have no one know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. I agree with
oh,
that.
okay. One other thing. Shit. While we're at it, I think that there's a fixation because of the camera, because of online magic, of it being purely visual, or
Mm-hmm.
is it good for camera? And it's
Yeah.
like holding coins always here when almost never, no one on earth ever holds one except to put
Right.
it into a drink machine. Like there's just some stuff of like motivated movement of like
Yeah.
and I saw that. I was showing them some vanishes. I was like, I was there at this like table, and I said, look, there's something to these things are all really cool where you're doing all these like all that stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
you could also just
Yeah.
you know, and I
Boom.
had a ring of kids freak out.
Yeah.
I said, you guys want to work on that?
Yeah.
And we did. We just worked on motivated false transfers, and they were screaming.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm bad at
Doing
answering specific questions. I end up just going into like a big
no, but it's like
word salad.
it's like it's like Goshman. I just watched Goshman's Magic by Gosh video,
Yeah.
which my best friend just told me is online, which I was like, who the fuck posts that? Anyways, so there's the ending piece of it where he's talking about he's pretty much ranting about magic clubs and all this other stuff. And he pretty much is talking about what you're talking about making it look good and making it look a certain way. Like it would really bothered him that magic was being presented in a way that it doesn't, you're the magic, don't go off of, it's good to learn the script, but just keep in mind that like audiences are there to see you. You're the magic. You're the one that
Right.
you're captivating them,
Right.
the eyes are on you. So
Speaking of a dated joke, the thing about like, hey, it's sick clothes. I like to get fresh. And you're like, gosh, man, Albert, no.
yeah, I mean, that whole video was great because the two ladies who were helping just flirting with them the whole time and
Yeah, yeah,
like submissive dominant sort of play that's like say yes, yes. It's like
yeah.
say go, go. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, Albert.
It's great, but there's and even, like you were saying with the vanish, the way he was vanishing coins and things like that is just it's just crazy. The drop, the
Yeah.
pitch and all of it is
Oh,
just
and
there's so many other ways than and I don't think the gang signs looks good,
never heard someone say that. That's really funny. Yeah, yeah. It's good for sitting in your bedroom doing magic for each other on camera. I work around people, and I'm not saying one better than the other. I'm saying I mainly work surrounded by people, and
It's about who you are.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there are bold vanishes where if you know what a wand does, if you know what I don't know, those things matter. And I think that it's not that but then once I showed those kids that, they were so hungry, and they were like, oh yeah. And next day they're showing me, they're working on it, and
Right.
they understood what I meant, because magic doesn't exist. It doesn't exist here on this thing. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
Magic's, you got to be right there in that same room with those people. It has to happen now. And I think making that clear, you know,
What do you feel? Would you say because magic is evolving? I feel like in the last 5 years, like coming out of the pandemic, it's kind of evolving very quickly. Would you say for the younger audiences or new magicians coming into it, that's what's exciting about it for you, about where it's headed, is that you're actually like, here, pick up Sack's sleight of hand and check that out, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll read it, or
Talents camp for sure. That's what's so
yeah.
cool is that they want the books. They want to know. I don't. I'm bad at predicting where things are headed. I think that the more that technology becomes, like, especially we get into like things like we're really kind of nebulous, like AI and things like that. I think people, if they can dismiss what you're doing, if they have an easy answer for what you're doing, then your trick sucks.
Yeah.
And no matter whether it's technology or not. And that's maybe again why I kind of enjoy Conjuring is that
Mm-hmm.
they know it's me. And maybe
Yeah.
that's an ego thing. Maybe it's I want there to be, and they know it's me, but they don't quite know how it's
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that we passed around the joke that they're selling this pad, this like beautiful drawing pad that will go straight to your phone and computer, and it's made for artists to have two copies of what they do.
Yeah.
And it's a regular old pen and a regular old pad, and
Yeah.
it's that's not great if that's ubiquitous.
Yeah.
That ain't great for us. So
Yeah.
there's stuff like that. So when it comes to like the newer generation of guys doing it, I think they're just going to be influenced by YouTube and Penn and Teller Fool Us, and that's their
Mm-hmm.
SNL. SNL was where I saw Penn and Teller or David
Yeah.
Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're seeing magic, and their stars are these guys who I don't think perform for a living, but they perform on camera and they talk about magic, and that's fine. It's just, I don't think you're a magician unless you can do this shit live. I just don't. I don't think you can do it unless you can do it. And again, it can be under your conditions. I mean, Derek Delgadio will tell me, he's like, I don't know how the hell you do this look room. I don't know how the hell you do any of this crap, because he's like, I don't like the thought of it. He wants it to be
Yeah.
exactly how he needs it. I think Penn and Teller are the same way. They
Mm-hmm.
like being that stage, and here's the proscenium, here's the
Mm-hmm.
audience. Um, but I think they're both live performers. They know how to be a
Yeah.
live performer, and they
Mm-hmm.
know how to make the magic happen now, tonight. Um,
Yeah.
I think you got to work on that. You got to work on it, not just being for 20 other guys and around the world watching your Instagram feed. It's got
Yeah.
to be, that doesn't make you a magician. Knowing a few tricks, especially a few tricks online, does not make you a magician.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
What, how do you feel, or what advice do you have for the younger magicians who are kind of at that point where they're like, I think I don't want to go to college. I think I want to go pro, or,
Oh,
I think,
Jesus.
right? They want to go pro. They know somewhere down the line they're going to go pro, or,
um,
sounds like they're signing like a skateboarding contract, but, um, I'm
uh,
going to go pro. Okay, you do that.
man, I'm glad I studied theater. I'm glad I got a degree in it. And I sometimes wish I'd studied something else too, but it gave me a foundation of how to be on stage. I'm glad I took some improv classes, so I knew how to riff with people, and I knew how to say yes to things. And
Yeah.
I'm glad I went to college. I learned more in some ways doing one play on, like producing, directing, writing one play that I did in 4 years of college. I mean, I got more education from the audience. Um, when it comes to being, if they want to go pro, I think you got to move to the right city.
Mm-hmm.
New York's a great town to be a professional, even though we've got a lot of guys here now, the bigger cities in the world.
Everybody's coming to New York.
Yeah. It's hard to break in now, and there's not like a good, there's not really a direct route of how to get into the inside of it. I mean, I've been here a long time now,
Mm-hmm.
when I got here, I auditioned for Jamie, or I didn't audition. I took lessons with Jamie. I auditioned at Monday Night Magic. I became an usher at Monday Night Magic. I did a close up at Monday Night Magic. I hosted Monday Night Magic. I did it kind of went up the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys want to jump right into it right now. I think you got to be in a town where you can have a show, and it might be that you live in a town that has tourism, and you can just be this guy that has this little show that people come through. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I think it's different for everybody. It depends on what you want. All I ever wanted was to do magic and make a living. And
Yeah.
the new Bob Dylan movie that Timothy Chalamet is amazing. He said, I just want to be a musician who eats. And I
Yeah.
feel that. I feel like I just want to be an artist, a creator, somebody who performs for a living and eats. And
Mm-hmm.
no, success was never a part of that. Like the idea of like making a great living is I wanted to make a living.
Right.
And so those are my goals. My goals are kind of in some ways short-sighted. The idea of fame or fame among
Mm-hmm.
magicians or
Yeah.
all of that never came into play.
Mm-hmm.
But the advice would be honestly get good, read the history, make sure you're not, and don't worry so much about constantly needing to be like this innovative guy with a trick out there for, having some new thing. That's just not what occurred to me. Read the history,
Yeah.
learn where you were, learn what came before you, study Vernon. Yeah, I know he's got a lot of shit now. People say, "Oh, Vernon didn't know what he's talking about." Like, you're wrong. You're an
Yeah.
idiot. Vernon would
Yeah.
fucking that's a great way to start. It's look at
Yeah.
what Vernon's trying to say to you about natural movement, motivated movement. You know, when he was saying all that, that's when the method was happening. When Stanislavski was talking about like, why are you getting up, moving to that window? Is it
Right.
just because it looks good on stage, or because you need to see something, or you're desperate for a way out, or
Right.
why are you moving? And so study that stuff, and if you get good, I forget who said this thing about like be so good they can't deny that they just can't. Oh, Steve Martin, he was saying like just
Yeah.
get so good at this thing that you're undeniable.
Yeah.
You know, if you do magic well, you can live in Williamson lives in Ohio and Dayton,
Yeah.
Ohio, right? And
Yeah.
you don't have to live in a big city. You don't,
Yeah.
they'll bring you to them. They'll bring you to them if you're good.
Yeah. I think it's that interesting concept. It's the old way of magicians as well, where we don't always need to congregate, together and perform in
Hmm.
the same areas and magicians would tour, the United States and wherever and
Yeah.
do their show at certain theaters. And even close up, they've built their own situation for them to perform in, like we don't.
Yeah.
So I just think it's kind of like, and you could live in Dayton, Ohio. You
Yeah.
could
Yeah. Well, like,
do
um, um,
1903 and then fly home to the
yeah.
farm and go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's ways to do it. I mean, Eric Mead lives in Aspen, and he travels for work and does show. I don't
It's
think you have to
work.
be in a city. It'll make it easier to be around good guys if you move to a place where they have good guys.
Yeah.
I definitely leveled up when I got around regular working magicians who taught me stuff. I think finding a mentor, finding someone to guide you the right direction, to clean you up on the things you taught yourself that need a little tweaking. Um, Learning how to ask for help, learning how to say, someday I'd love to know the work on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever felt like you could share it, I would love. Um, would you have a look at this? I need some help with this.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than like show me that. Whose
Yeah.
is that? Like learning how to ask for help and seeking real guidance. I think that's something that like it's out there. Especially we're also connected now. Like
Yeah.
you know, finding someone whose taste you like and not getting advice from every single magician, but getting like somebody whose taste you really respect and admire, and that they can teach you.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. That was a big leap forward for me.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm around all these great magicians at the show. And Mark
Mm-hmm.
Calabrese saw my second deal, said this thing sucks, and sat me down and made that thing into a good second deal. And he,
Of course he did.
Alex Boyce has shown me so much stuff, and
Yeah.
Prakash obviously, but I've learned
Yeah.
so much from these guys.
I think
Rachel Wax, watching her perform, learning how she structures her character and herself and her
yeah.
humor, and not getting in the way of the magic.
Mm.
I've learned so much from these guys.
Yeah, I think I was just talking to a friend about women in magic and how there's a lot of good ones and there's a lot that could use improvement. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that sort of bubble of the genre. It's really its own world. It's becoming its own world, and it's incredible.
Beautiful,
It's
man.
great. Yeah.
Only good, only good. And Rachel can talk at length about that, about like what it's like to ask a man for advice or help, and then he hits on you,
Mm.
or compliments your body,
Yeah.
or has a night that's something that just isn't going to work with you and your outfit that you have. Like, yeah, pockets. Thanks. What?
Yeah. Interesting.
So
No, I think it's
yeah,
I don't know that world too much, so I think it's
yeah.
really it's incredible. I think it's great.
No, it's wonderful. I've been with her at convention, and she's becoming a real star among magicians, and rightfully so. She's brilliant. But she's also outspoken about like how women are treated in magic, and like we all, why are there more women magicians? Like, well, they're in it until they meet other magicians, and they go, oh shit, I don't want to do this. Be
Yeah.
around a bunch of fucking incels who don't know how to talk to me, and it constantly insult me. Like she has a lot of. I mean, we're lucky we still have her. She's the shit she's
Yeah.
had men say to her.
It's
But she's
interesting.
got entire bits about that. She's made
Mhm.
tricks out of those things.
Yeah.
She's hilarious.
I think it's also interesting because it's like, when we're going down the rabbit holes of, whatever we're wanting to learn and things like that, we forget that like eventually we're going to run into Ed Marlowe, and then we're going to run into Solomon and Rocker Bomber and all the
Hmm.
contemporaries. And
Yeah,
then we're going to leave there and we're going to understand that Brewster Vaughn, and like we're going to go in all these different directions. But
yeah,
there's also now I'm kind of understanding that it's an entirely different uh, world for women in magic, where they're kind of doing their own thing. They see this path and they
yeah,
get it and they're going to learn off of it, but in reality they're kind of creating a whole new set of their own thing. So
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. It's really wonderful. I mean, I think the internet's to blame for that, and I think just so many ways. I mean, I think like that they have a community they can talk to each other, and man, it's not for me to have too much of an opinion about it being who I fucking
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
but
No. No.
listening to Rachel talk about it and Jeanette Andrews and people like that talk about it, it's been very educational.
Where can people find you? Where can they find your magic? Where can they?
Well, it's Speakeasy Magic Tuesday through Sunday. There's 8 shows a week, twice Friday, twice Saturday. The Slip Room, I'm in there about 3 or 4 times a month. Um, those are the main public places. I do a lot of private gigs and kind of, one of those guys. I don't really have a lot of stuff with me performing online because I hate it. I
Yeah,
don't like it. I don't like to be on camera and doing magic too much. So
yeah,
that's about it.
excellent. Well, before I let you go, our previous guest, John Wilson, left you a question, and I've kind of created this new tradition of everybody's leaving
Yeah.
the previous guest a question or next
Yeah.
guest.
What's the most important secret that you keep for your audience?
Most important secret I keep for the audience, I think, is just that the performer is the most vulnerable person in the room, the most frightened, the most afraid of it going wrong. And though there's an air of confidence, we're all really hoping this goes well, and we're quite a raw nerve. And no matter how good you get, you're still gonna have a little pit piece of you. It's like, let's go, let's go. And I think unless you've ever performed anything or spoken in public, you won't know that. But that's a big
Mm-hmm.
secret. That's the
Yeah,
biggest secret of magic, of any performance.
excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking time and sitting down with me and chatting. And I'm
Yeah.
sure our paths will cross at some point.
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking me to be on here. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely.